of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call.
Martini?
Here.
Dodd?
Here.
Nye?
Here.
Jankowski?
Here.
Here.
Sinquist?
Here.
Tarango? Malik?
Here.
Snyder?
Here. Okay. Agenda additions. We have any? I added some stuff already. I think we might have at least one.
I'd like to add the possibility of changing our date for our meetings.
Okay. So we could add that under the new business C.
Yeah.
Meeting date change discussion. Any other ads? Good?
Yep.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of the minutes. I reviewed them. They look good to me.
So good to me. Yeah, I didn't see any discrepancies.
I'll make a movement.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Okay, seconded by Snyder. All right, minutes are approved.
You need a yea or a
Oh,
nay.
yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, call of the public.
Well, empty chairs, so
Nobody here? All right. No one from the public. All right, straight into new business. We're moving right along. All right, discussion, I added this, right? So discussion of lake level timing related to the boat launch closure. So there was discussion online at least, since the DNR is coming in and closing the launch for 2 weeks at the end of September. People were concerned that the lake drawdown starting in October might prevent them from being able to get their boat off the lift before they can get their boat out of the water. I'm sure it's particularly problematic in the shallow areas. I know in the spring, I can't get my boat on and off the water. So I think people would appreciate potentially modifying when we start the drawdown, which is typically October 1st. We don't really have to get it down to the target until in December. So I at least wanted to bring up the idea, maybe we could delay the drawdown for a week or two to accommodate. I don't think it's a rush to get the lake level down, and we can certainly bring the lake level down much faster than we can fill it.
I don't have a problem with that. That makes sense. In fact, what I would really like to do, because I've seen this go back and forth for almost 50 years, is we should put a tentative date in there and make sure that whoever it is in the DPW or a member from here follows that rule, like they do, let's lower the lake in October. Well, we very seldom ever get a solid freeze before the end of November or December. So you could go till the end of October. Not
Yeah.
add water, but don't take any water out.
I thought for a while there they were holding off until the 15th
Yeah, I think.
Of what?
This-
October.
Yeah.
So it used to be the 1st, but do you guys want to push it to the 30th?
yeah, I think go for November 1st would make sense.
That makes sense to me, unless somebody knows something that makes it.
Well, just
Not-
curious, do they usually do it a little earlier than in October so people can work on their seawalls and have more time
It
for
used to be
that?
October 1st. I don't know exactly how the date got started. Then the last few years have been really nice, so they've been holding off till the 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, we want to get it to the winter level by December 1st. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
arbitrary, like, we're
and
never
I
going to
don't
have a
know how
freeze.
fast it draws down.
We can tell you. We just,
Oh, there
I
you
just
go.
looked that up.
There you go.
It can draw down fast.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think that's really important is in
Easily an
this-
inch a day.
Pardon?
Easily.
Okay, so, and we're
What
going
was
down
that? How
to
many?
18
We could easily
inches.
draw it down an inch a day. We had the gates open
Yeah.
only slightly, and we brought it down 9/10 of an inch a day. And we got to drop it a total of, what, 18 inches? So you got to, assume 20, 25 days to drop
It might not be a bad idea because of what's going on there. Why don't we just for this year, say the end of November? and then see how that plays
End of
out.
October.
The end of October.
I wouldn't
I mean,
wait.
the end of, huh?
Yeah,
End of
say
October.
November 1st. You're going to start the drawdown
November
November
1st,
1st. Perfect.
and we'll see how that, let,
Are there any
Okay.
considerations beyond our own lake level? I mean, we're letting this water out into somewhere.
We've
No.
talked about that, and last I heard, the lake next to us, I forget which one it is, said that, because it continues from that lake on, they said that it never bothers them.
Okay.
John
So I remember that was a good discussion.
John covered that one time.
Okay.
Okay,
All
so is this something, I guess, do we need a motion because council actually approves this, or this is just?
Yeah, I would,
DPW?
I think we should make a motion to go to
Okay.
council.
All right, so I will.
before you,
Yep.
just to tie in with this, unless you want to do it completely separate, the filling up of the lake.
Separate. Let's
Okay.
look at this, the
Yeah.
document that I printed out, we could talk through it, and then I
Good.
think, we got another thing here that I think would be perfect for that discussion, so.
Do we need to at least inform the downstream lake
No,
association? We
Yeah,
don't need
You
to.
no.
don't have to, no.
So, okay,
So I'm,
Yeah.
you gonna make the motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion,
All
right?
right.
Motion to recommend to council that we delay the drawdown of the lake such that it starts the drawdown on November 1st.
Second.
Okay. We need a roll call vote on this?
Martini,
I think,
Aye.
Snyder,
Aye.
Torongo,
yes,
Jankowski,
Aye.
Nye,
Yes.
Mallon,
yes,
Duff,
Aye.
Sinkwitz.
yes.
Okay, now that one, we're gonna have to get to council. I can send it to Dave,
Yeah.
because if that doesn't get there till November,
yeah, then,
Right.
yeah.
defeats the whole
Yeah.
purpose, so I'll
Right.
send that to Dave today.
Okay.
Okay, the second thing on Water Management Board, new business, so I added this back in, which I think it's worth going over again. We had a document that we had that was, it kind of covered the goals of the Water Management Board, and it also covered kind of areas of interest slash specialties that each person was essentially responsible for. Because we were trying to cover a bunch of different stuff, and now we've had quite a bit of turnover on the board.
Yeah.
Right, so I think it'd be worthwhile to try and go through that. We don't have to spend more than 10 minutes on this, but if there are things that you're passionate about, I think it's probably worthwhile to look at the stuff we're trying to cover and say, okay, you'll take coverage of this and feel somewhat ownership of that aspect of what we do. So I think it'd be worthwhile to try and go through this list since we've had so much turnover and see if we want to change what we're doing. So I'm going to blast through this, and then as people feel interested, I'll say what currently is the assignment, and then maybe we'll change some stuff up. So we have kind of these overall objectives. I wish I could put this up on the board so everybody can see it, but I can verbally do it too. So we have the main things are like lake health, safety and education, recreation, and then we wrote water in, water out, are like the main categories. And then we broke those up to components, right? So I'll just go first in the lake health and water quality. So the first thing we had was just weed population. So it wasn't specific, it was more about, some knowledge of what the weed population is in the lake. Mike Sargent was basically quote-unquote in charge on this. I don't know that he actually did anything, it was more, he was proposing, putting together some kind of public information regarding the different types of weeds, why you might want to harvest some of them, why you might want to treat some of them, the same stuff we talk about all the time. But anything related to that, maybe education of that, or an understanding of what the weed population is. I personally can't look at and identify any weed in the lake, right? I asked Paul, I said, what's that, right? But having somebody that's like somewhat understanding those things is valuable. And Mike is no longer with the board. I'm sure you guys saw that. He put his resignation letter in today. So we're going to have to backfill that. So is anybody interested in just being that person?
I didn't see that. I didn't either.
Nobody saw that?
Mike
Oh,
Sargent?
Mike Sargent resigned today,
Okay.
in other news, yeah.
Wow.
He basically said he doesn't have the time, right?
Yeah.
I-
Studying for a doctorate.
Yeah, I could read the letter, but it's exactly what he's been saying. Same reason why he stepped down from being chair, is that he didn't have the time with his doctorate. It's only getting worse. He can't put the time in, so he sent a resignation letter in today.
Wow.
So Mike is no longer on the board. So we're going to have to backfill that too. But for weed population, just in general, I don't really know what the workload is here. But to me, it's someone that feels like they're going to be knowledgeable in the different types of weeds and why we might do something or not, without having to refer back to Paul all the time. So anybody have any interest in taking that and being that person?
Killing me.
The
Well,
water
let me
board's-
ask you a question. We
Killing
we
me.
hire Paul,
Yeah, we do.
and he's on a platform where, is it just so many times a year? Or
No, I'm just saying is, if
Well-
we have call to the public come in, right, and there's some discussion on weed population, we shouldn't be a board that has no knowledge on any of the weeds and say, we gotta get with Paul, right? Somebody here should feel some kind of responsibility.
Well, you
Yeah,
know,
we should
I've
be
been
able to
on this
find a way to
board for I don't know how many
answer
months, and I think I've seen 5 people in the audience.
It used to be
So, well, it used to
There's
be,
been
okay.
moments.
I mean,
It
council
comes and
used to be
goes.
different.
Yeah.
But again, I just, this is what we're paying them for. And if we need answers, I think this is what we lean on them for.
Well, true,
You know, none of us are specialists. I mean, sure, we all took the class, I
Yeah,
believe, you know.
understand that. Paul-
But again, here, you pull this up,
Yep.
and I've got it in here, I mean, all the different weeds. I couldn't tell you one from the next,
That should be
okay?
a recommendation from Paul. When he goes out
Yeah.
and does that, and he comes back and he says, we got, Starry Storm, we got this, we got that, we got,
Sure, I'm not saying that we're doing a lake survey.
And do
No,
that,
no, but-
But when a resident comes in and makes a complaint about something that we're not knowledgeable, you're better off not to say nothing. And you just say, we'll get back with you after we talk to our limnologist.
Yeah,
Or
because,
That might be the
or our
best way to
fisheries
handle
guy,
it.
because you say something, and if it's not 100%,
Yeah, they
I
go-
disagree.
I think we're confusing the issue. I think
Yeah.
the issue isn't who's the public face to talk
No.
about weeds. It is who amongst the board wants to become educated enough to where they can have an intelligent discussion with Paul and understand what he's saying. I mean, I know we pay him to do all sorts of stuff for us.
This was an
But-
area that we
Well, I
had
have to tell
started.
you, the time I spent with him today was very educational. I
Yeah.
learned more about weeds and which ones are good ones and which ones we,
Right.
Yeah.
we need to remove.
And
I mean, I'd be happy to do that,
There you
as
go.
long as I can use Paul as my
Yeah,
source.
sure. Nobody's
yeah.
trying to say, let's replace Paul. We're just trying to say, let's have, I can't tell
Well, it'd be
you off
nice
the
if
top of my
somebody
head
learned
which
something.
ones are okay to harvest because they don't spread, and which ones you harvest and they break up. And I
Yeah.
can't identify them. I put zero effort into it. Mike Sargent got a PhD in this. He's working towards it, right? Like,
Right.
he knew this stuff.
Yes,
So I
I
just.
knew this
As long as you don't compare me to Mark.
No. I'm just basically saying, somebody should
Yeah.
feel like, if you have an interest, you want to go, you went on the boat, right?
Yeah.
Go on the boat 2 times, talk to them,
Yeah.
feel like you have some
Yeah.
ownership of it, that's it.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll do that.
All right, so we'll give that thought. Okay, the harvester, right? So I currently have the harvester, right? And to me, what we talked about was documenting how many loads it has a year, how many hours, reports on how many times it's been run, comparing it to previous years. I'm okay still doing that unless somebody else is passionate about, you're certainly passionate about the harvester and running it as much as possible. But
I think you should put maintenance in there too.
maintenance too, that's what I'm saying, boom. So,
That should be on top.
right, so in general, right? Maintenance, I can add maintenance. So I've been tracking basically when they post the hours it runs, I pull it down, I have a spreadsheet, I've got the historical hours, and we can see how we've used the harvester over years. It's not difficult to do, I don't mind doing that, but, like I said, I can be the person who quote-unquote cares about the harvester and what it's doing. And I'm always emailing, Dave and trying to find out when it's up, what the problem was, why isn't it running, this type of stuff. I can continue doing that unless somebody else wants to be the harvester person.
I think you're doing a great job with that.
Okay. All right, erosion, Mike Hurst took that to heart, right? And we were talking about anything around erosion, right? He was all over it, he went to conferences on erosion, he listened to stuff about erosion, he tried to be the voice of the board relative to erosion because it was something he was passionate about. He took on the project trying to do a sample area.
Don't we have an erosion person that we pay?
No,
We did.
we don't.
Not since I've been on the board.
Yeah, it's, he used to be the guy that went around and did the, I'll have to think of his name.
oh, Rondo?
Yeah, Rondo.
Yeah, he had
He was our
he had
erosion.
a certificate.
Because the house, that monster house that went up next door to me, he was there doing the erosion control.
He worked for the village?
Yeah, he used to be the
He
code
was paid by the
enforcement officer.
village.
Yeah, we have nobody, Mike was the person on the board that
On the
was like
board.
trying to think
Right.
about what we could do, what recommendations we can make,
You would've been
what the
nice.
impacts are, what might affect erosion,
Yeah.
what might not.
There were a couple of projects that were.
Yeah, he was trying to
Looking
do
at-
like a sample area on erosion control for natural shorelines. He brought in people for natural shoreline to come discuss that. We had a public forum. We had a bunch of people show up listening to about natural shorelines versus seawalls. Like, it was his little
Yeah.
thing, right? He's not here anymore. Somebody should fill the gap, I think. Anybody passionate about erosion, or are we not?
I could, since my thing was sad, so
Yeah, you had water quality, yeah?
water quality. I guess that kind of dovetails into that. I think erosion is an important feature. I can remember Mike saying that from what he found out, this lake and most lakes do everything just about absolutely wrong. Where erosion's concerned, seawalls don't help. But I think there's some opportunities in the canals.
Seawalls don't help?
No,
I mean, it just,
it exacerbates the problem further on down. The waves hit and they find a spot that's weaker.
so this
So-
is, you know, there's a lot of, I mean, the reality is the lake is, got too many houses on it.
Yeah.
There's seawalls, they're
Right.
not gonna go away. That's just reality.
So-
But there was some discussion
If-
of
What we could
natural
do to
shorelines.
mitigate,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you lived on the lake, you know what the erosion problem is.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Boats within 150 feet from shore on plane,
Yep.
That's certainly a piece.
tidal waves
Yep.
coming in.
But also, like I said, where I live, right, I live back on the other side of Oak Island.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look at my neighbor's property, it's completely eroded and it's a no-wake zone. Like, there's
Yeah.
definitely more to it than that.
Yeah.
That is a big part to it, but
Yeah.
we talked about whether drawing the lake down is actually problematic. But
Yeah, and in the areas down here where they just got the no-wake buoy up,
Yeah,
I mean, you can go down there sometimes and see chunks of swamp floating around.
yep. But we gotta, like I said, I think Mike took this to heart and was like gung-ho about erosion, so,
I don't know how gung-ho I'll get, but I'll
okay, you could
put my
fill
name
their
next to
shoes.
erosion.
If you have a category on fish stocking.
Fish
that's me.
population is the next one. Habitats, stocking, consulting with the DNR, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Do I hear Ed? I hear Ed.
Fish.
Boom, that's the next one up. Okay, water qualities. You're still on that, right?
I'll be on
No,
there.
it's not, Snyder was on water quality.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so we had an this is all under lake health, right? So the lake bottom,
Like
and then that we wrote, so muck measurement, management, reduction, this was all in you.
That's Paul.
No, you're the
Oh.
muck.
Muck, you were all
You're the
things
muck.
muck.
Oh,
You
right.
were the
the muck
board, the
breaker.
board representative for muck and
All
canals,
right.
as we
I'm
did.
I should do something over
50
the
year,
winter.
about 53 or 54 years ago, the company I worked for that did soil testing, we came out on Wolverine Lake when it was frozen, put holes in and tested to see how much peat there was.
Yeah,
And then I did all the testing for the pylons that they put that walkway in,
mhm.
28 feet of peat,
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
28 feet of organic material.
Just at my dock, it's super
Probably-
shallow, and I sunk was it 12-foot thing to
Yeah, it
extend
just
the
goes
dock?
right down.
I literally just hammer. It's only 4 feet of water.
Yeah.
12-foot thing disappeared like it was nothing.
Spring Lake Heights put their dock in the early 80s.
Yeah.
21 foot of pipe. One
Straight
guy
down.
jumped onto the pipe.
Yeah.
Two guys were in boats
You had to let
next
go or
to
you
it.
get sucked down.
One guy jumped onto the pipe, and as the pipe was going down, he was climbing up.
Yeah.
Honest to
Yeah.
God,
No
just
doubt.
21 foot.
I believe it. Okay, so you're still on Lake Bottom.
All
What's
right.
your objective?
That's what I wanted to ask. Is it going to be, getting rid of muck might not be,
We wrote this as muck measurement, management, reduction, just being the point
all right,
person.
I got an idea. Okay, so let's just see what's possible before we decide if we can actually tackle it.
Yeah, I'm not.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you, Kathy.
If the muck reduction,
Oh,
right, but let's just see theoretically what's possible.
Yeah.
Circle or back around.
we were told by John Scott the aerator was gonna do
Well,
it.
that's the next category, aeration.
Oh, I'm all for that.
You just.
And taking a whole bunch of
Put me
stuff.
on it, and the answer's no.
So aeration, which we have to get to also in a second, because that went to the council. So aeration, I was previously on that because John was leaving the board. I did essentially nothing with it, which is part of the reason why nothing's been done with it. But anybody interested in aeration?
Would
The
it
only,
also-
the only usage that I can think of at this point in time is if we want to do something with it in the canals, which I think we
That's-
have not,
Yeah.
we just keep kicking that can around, and nobody's really done it. So I think if we're going to have somebody associated,
Well,
with
yeah, we can
muck.
do that, because I honestly, it worked for algae, and that one very end of Penny Lake, they were
Yeah.
very happy with it.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't it work where these other algae blooms keep popping up in these little coves where they get no water flow? I mean, I know the issue is electricity, but seriously?
Do you think it
that's-
may have, though? I mean, I know anecdotally last year when we did narrate, everybody said, yeah, everything looks worse when we quit it. Now this year, we've got all the algae blooms, and we haven't aerated for a couple of years.
Right, yeah, well, the people at the very end, they did say they liked the aeration because of the
yeah.
algae.
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
So-
don't get me wrong, aeration.
They should put in a bubbler.
Right.
Yeah.
So aeration, bubbling, whatever you want to call it, has its fine points, but I don't think it's going to be the end all be all to fix
no.
problems in the lake.
One of
So
many.
we're
So
gonna
I'll-
put Kathy
Thank
down for
you.
that.
The other thing you have to remember, if you put one down there for them, because if they need it to keep the lake clear, what about the guy over there by Benstein who says, oh, mine's just as muddy and
I
swampy?
know, that's
Where's
the-
my bubbler? Where's
Personally,
my-"
I would do it in like 6 or 7 spots around the lake.
Yeah.
Is what we need to do is come up with a plan, a proposal,
Yeah.
and see if it makes sense to council.
All right, we're gonna make you champion of aeration moving forward.
All right.
All right, so the next section is all about safety and education, right? And it's broader education.
Mitchell.
It's gonna be Mitchell,
Yeah.
since this is literally what he
That's
ran,
what I said.
what he said he wanted to do.
It's all
So
Mitchell.
everything safety education related, so it's safety education, communication, boater safety courses, any kind of snowmobile safety courses, water management board member training, ice fishing education, anything associated with safety and education, you're on that now.
Sweet. I did have something I wanted to talk about, too. I
Sure.
don't know if this is the right time, or whenever we're
Why
done.
don't we get to it in, there's a section
There's a
here.
section. Comments from board members, number
Yeah,
13.
yeah, we'll get to it then.
Cool.
Okay. Social media I'm gonna keep because I'm on it anyway. Rule enforcement, Sergeant had it, and this is basically consulting with the chief or bringing the chief in for an annual meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and put Mitchell on this as well because I truly think that our education
got
and
it.
rules enforcement have to be tied together.
Yeah.
Because I think we could talk about education all day. I think if we
Right.
talk to the police chief,
They know best.
Just for a point,
he thinks people know the rules and they just don't care, and it's not actually an education issue. It's
do you know
something
when the boater safety class was?
she
What was the
all-
date?
Well,
August?
there was 3, so that we
Okay.
just had one on the 13th.
I think doing it
Did
in
you show
August
up?
is kind of like,
Well, they
you
did
missed
3.
the boat.
I think what I would say is I would suggest doing a May and a June,
You do it in February and March too,
maybe.
because, the weather's kind of crappy, you got nothing else to do.
That's
But-
probably true. Earlier in the year is better.
Yeah, you do it towards the end of the year, guys,
I totally disagree
I've
with
already got my
anything
2
after.
tickets, what do I need to go to there?
Yeah. So we'll do Mitchell's going to take all the education and rule enforcement because I think they go hand in hand. And like I said, I think talking with the chief, understanding where we think we might need more education is a great place to start. Okay, we have a section here for equipment, just buoys, positioning, signage, review of signage anywhere, et cetera. I'm going to throw Rob on that for the time being unless you have an objection.
Nope, that's fine.
All right, boom. Recreation, okay, waterfowl count. We'll keep it with you. You still still counting birds? Birds and boats, you still keeping those?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Fishing, fish habitats, fish contests, this is all Mr. Ed now. Ed. So this is, you're already very much interested in reporting out the fishing. I think this is
You know-
gonna be great.
I couldn't get a hold of the fisheries. I had 3 numbers. There was no answer. Then I called the village here and I says, if you need to contact somebody about fisheries, because I wanted to find
Yeah.
out, do these guys just come in and say we're having a
Exactly.
fishing contest, or do they make arrangements? Nobody had a phone number that was working for the
I called you
DNR.
back. I called you back, and then I sent you an email that had the DNR contact for, it's like some PhD dude that's in
Yeah,
charge
I couldn't
of all-
get, never got,
All right, after this, I'll
I
pull it
never
up.
got an answer.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you the information after this. Okay, the next 2 sections is water in and water out. So water in was about wells and septic, that we gave that to Snyder here since he previously had the water quality, so I think that's still fair.
Yep.
Water out was anything about the dam, the berm quality, inspection of the dam, or whatever. That was Mike Hurst previously, so I don't know if anybody's interested in that.
Is it just a maintenance issue?
The
Making
village
sure
Yeah.
the dam works?
Yeah, it's, he's done that, there was nothing to do here, I don't think. It was basically making sure that there's a dam inspection, water, lake level.
Well, yeah, it might just be helping the board keep.
Yeah,
up
I
on
think
it.
just because it's under lake level, I'll just take it, because I already have all the
I was
stuff
gonna
going.
say, yeah, they report to you anyway. And you-
Okay, so that's all I wanted to do here. I'll send this out in the email to everybody on what kind of point area I think it was just worthwhile to go through, and when we get another board member, we'll see if they're interested in unload some stuff.
Okay.
Okay, cool, that's all I wanted to do there. And then I'll send this out to everybody afterwards. Okay, next thing, new business, meeting date discussion. So you want to kick that one
Well,
off?
Yeah, I talked with, we had a administrative meeting right after the council meeting, and I mentioned with the administrator and Nedrow and Duff about changing our meeting from the first Wednesday to the third Wednesday. And the reason being, so yourself or anyone that's doing can get the proper documentation to the village for the council meeting. Because right now, if the meetings today, we have a secretary doing recording, it's got to be transcribed for minutes and everything else, but the council meeting is a week from today. Okay, and they try to get the packet out by Friday. And it kind of is a cramp. And there's nothing in our ordinances that say it can't be that third Wednesday. And it wouldn't affect any meetings that are transpired right now with the village. And the only reason being, gives this board the chance to get the proper documentation to council for if there's any votes or changes to be made. Otherwise, it could take 5-6 weeks, because if it can't happen for the following Wednesday, that means it's got to go to the following month.
All right.
So I
what
didn't
is
know
this
if anybody
coming?
else is interested in that proposal, sending it to council for, and Ryan and I had spoke, the idea would be to start in January. Okay.
I would make a motion to support that. The only thing is that I'm not sure when our flyer comes out for the year. If we do it in January, if it's not advertised real good, well, I came here and you guys weren't here.
Yeah, but we have the signage.
That's true.
Which
Yeah.
was,
And
is gonna
email.
change, right.
It's on the
And they-
website, every time the meeting comes up, the day before, it says it's the Wednesday,
Yeah,
the email
plus-
goes out.
Yeah, plus they send out emails with updates.
Yeah.
I mean, I would
Yeah.
think probably 60 to 70% of the village is on the
Yeah.
emails, that they get the notifications from the village.
Did you make a motion, Bob?
No, you just did.
Okay.
Is January the month, or is
We need a
December the month?
second.
of
I just
the-
felt like if we did it like November.
Chairman, we
or
need a
just-
second on
Yeah,
that
yeah,
motion.
one second, let's keep talking 1 second. If we do it in November or December, it's probably going to hit Thanksgiving, Christmas potentially.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So-
No, my concern is from serving on other boards, public boards have an agenda that they publish annually. And you got to move heaven and earth to, because it goes out to it's an
That's
official
true.
notification. I think it's part of the Open Meetings Act. So if we change it, that should coincide with whenever the village decides to publish, because they got to publish when the council meetings are and all that stuff too.
So I
So
think we can make a
January
motion
might work.
that the council can tell us if the date is not right.
Yeah, but I
Here's
mean-
another thing, if we have elections or anything that happens in November, and then the first Monday, I believe it is, after an election,
Election is the
they
meeting.
have to have a meeting, so actually November, that way it would fall in place for whenever there's votes and things. Okay? And it still gives us a month plus.
Well, I don't have any problem with third Wednesdays.
Okay, so I think we have a motion by Ed to move the Water Management Board to the third Wednesday of the month.
You need a second on the motion.
What dates, when do you say January? Do we want to say January?
Start-
Well, here's the thing, we can't really do it for November because of hunting season. I don't know what happened to
No,
the calendar.
January's the
they have
first
on the wall.
practical time.
So January.
January.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the motion is to move the Water Management Board to the third Wednesday of the month, starting in January 2022. I will second that.
Very good.
Okay?
Sinkwitz,
Yes. Voting, you voting?
Yes,
It's a roll
yes.
call.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Duff,
Yes.
Martini,
Yes.
Malik.
Yes.
Nye.
Yes.
Jankowski.
Yes.
Trongo.
Yes. I apologize, my name gets butchered so bad that when I hear his name, I said, they must be talking about me.
All right, so I think we're good there, right? So that ends new business. The next part is administrative report. So current lake level, we are .03 feet, i.e. .36 inches, from our target, which is basically perfect. It's right where it needs to be. So nothing to report there. I want to take some time to talk about this thing that I sent out, though, right? If anybody got a chance to look at it.
Yes.
I printed them out, I sent it. I think this will be interesting to Ed for sure, regarding how we brought the lake up this year versus what the goals are. So I'll kind of like do one of these so people can see it a little bit. So the top line there, if the water goes above that, that's when we open the sluice gates, right? The 0 line, that's our target for the summer, okay? And the line on the bottom, that if it goes below that, we'll turn the pumps on, right? That's basically the hysteresis around the control point that we're managing to.
Right.
Right now, by May 1st, we're supposed to be essentially at the bottom line, right? So we want to try and get the lake up to the target level by May 1st is the goal. And then I don't have the winter level here, but that's by December 1st, right? So this is now transponder data, right? Which you can tell, once we actually got the lake up to level, we did a pretty good job, right? We had a couple of crazy storms where it spiked up over the max, and we can recover it extremely quickly, which is not surprising. So this first thing, all I want to show is this line that's coming up the bottom. That's basically a count of the days in which we were out of range, right? How many days this year have we been out of range? So if you look at from May 1st till now, it's 121 days, and we were out of range for 46 of those, right? So not good, right, in my opinion. I think we should set some kind of goal here to say that we would like to monitor the lake and try and keep it within range 85% of the time, or something, 90% of the time.
So what was the problem way back here? Did they open the gates up?
No, so that's not opening the gates. So this is in the winter, right? And this is what Ed's passionate about here, right? In the winter, when they actually close the gates, right? Close the sluice gates to start filling the lake, right? They're waiting for rain, some ice melt. So right now they wait till the ice melts off of the shore a certain amount, and they close the sluice gates and try and fill the lake naturally from rain, ice melt, etc. And we got 37 of our 46 days that were out of range was before we even achieved the min, right? So this is just saying, to Ed's point, right? We filled the lake very poorly this year. right? The lake was,
Or we did something, we didn't pull the gates
we,
up soon enough.
two different things, right? One, it was very dry, we didn't get a lot of water, we didn't get a lot of rain, right? But the point is, we could potentially close the sluice gates, start filling the lake earlier, and then if we get a bunch of rain, let it out, right?
Yeah.
So this we will get to just briefly in 1 second, but just the point being, 46 of the 121 days we've been out of range, and 37 of them occurred in the very beginning. So once we got the lake up, I think we've managed it quite well. As soon as the rain is coming, as soon as the rain is coming, we're opening the gates. It's 2 days, 3 days max out.
That's not a big deal.
Ryan,
That's
the
really good.
point I was alluding to, and it shows on here, is that come January,
Yep.
if we've had a lot of snow and there's snow piled all around, we know we're going to get a lot of runoff.
Yeah.
This year, we didn't have it, obviously.
Yeah.
But the people in charge never considered that.
Yeah.
And then they go around and they go, well, we'll start filling the water up in Maine. We were like over a foot low.
Yep.
It never came.
Yep.
So
They
I
don't
think
have a
we
leader.
have, huh?
They don't have anyone leading them. They don't have a leader to give them at the beginning of the season.
A reader.
Leader.
With an L.
Somebody's saying, hey, here's a good idea. Why don't you try and close the sluice gates and
That,
close them?
that
why we
is
now have the
supposedly, that is a responsibility of the DPW
Yep.
Jeff. He's the one
I
who's,
don't know who Jeff is.
he's the one who works the sluice gates, opens and closes them. And then when we were talking about putting that transducer in there, and he says, I come and do it all the time, but that doesn't matter what it is.
Andy,
It's
you
just,
mean?
you have,
Andy Stone.
Andy,
Oh, yeah, Andy. Okay.
you have to play the weather.
Yep.
So if it looks like we're gonna get a lot of rain, and my point is like, probably by end of March, and the ice is pretty much broken up by then anyway, we want to be within 4 or 5 inches of maximum.
Yeah, so this is why I think
Yeah.
we should look at this come
No, I
December.
agree with you.
Let's say December, January, let's take a look at this chart and then make a recommendation. Say, hey, Andy, I think we're going to have a lot of runoff. Let's try and close those sluice gates.
Yeah, I
Okay.
would push it off.
And then
till
we'll say, listen,
February.
we're going to try and say, we want to keep 85% of the controllable days in order, and in order to do that, we need to clean up the start. And we can
Good
use this
idea.
and say, look,
Perfect.
okay, so this is what I wanted to get out of this.
Okay.
And so the next picture, let me show you the next picture. So I have 3 points pictured here. Those are the 3 times we ran the pumps for 1 week apiece, right? So in the beginning, we were trying to fill the lake with the augmentation wells, right? And just out of those periods, we ran them, and then we let them cool off. And we ran them. 3 times we ran those pumps, right, for a week at a time. And this is just for reference. Those pumps can fill the lake 0.3 inches a day. That's the rate at which we fill the lake, right? So,
3/8 of an inch.
so that's how.
Which barely keeps up with evaporation on a hot day.
This is, yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the beginning, it's 0.3 inches per day is the rate at which we can fill it. So if we need to cover 18 inches, right, we need to start
You
running the
need
pumps early or keep
way
water in the lake.
early.
Right. Okay, so just for reference, if people want to know how fast we fill the lake, 0.3 inches a day with the pumps.
We should
Okay,
really have this meeting.
yeah, I will. The next.
Kathy, is that one well that comes in on that canal, is that functioning? Or did they ever repair
Not
it?
really. I was waiting to hear if council, we got approval for them to fix it, but I don't know if it ever happened.
Yeah, they were supposed to fix it this year.
And some of that could be delay, with parts and COVID and
Yeah, COVID,
people.
yeah.
I don't know yet, but
So-
we should ask council.
Because that's a nice deep well and that's a good producer.
Yeah, it is.
So this next one is called Natural Summer Drawdown. So this section over here, this is a period of no rain, right, in the summer. That's how fast the lake is just getting drawn down from sprinklers and evaporation, right? We had no rain during this period. So on its own, in the middle of summer, it's dropping 0.2 inches a day, right, every day, right? So the well pumps in the spring can fill it 0.3 inches a day, and it goes down on its own 0.2 inches a day. So
So it's an
You
eighth.
get nowhere fast.
it basically, if you wanted to use the pumps to equalize it, you can barely increase the lake, barely, because people are pulling water out of the lake and it's evaporating.
Well, and that's one of the things I've questioned for years. And the people on the lake want the water up. Well, I think they have to use common sense. that when we have extreme heat,
Yep.
you don't pump the water out of the lake to
Yep.
do your lawns. Spare us, this electric bill
Yep.
for 2 or 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
Your lawn isn't gonna die
Yep.
overnight.
Yep.
Okay, and that all happens to take water out.
Yep.
And again, I'm not saying it's the only thing, but you add that to the evaporation factor, and that 1/8 of an inch that you're gaining could then be the 3/8 of an
Yep,
inch.
yep. So that's just for reference, how fast it draws out. And then the second part where it said forced drain, this is where we had a crazy rainstorm and it went up a ton. And we can, when we open the sluice gates, we could drop it almost an inch a day.
Right.
And that, they weren't even all open, right? They were
Yeah,
just partially
so
open.
there shouldn't be a problem with, they're, getting
And
it.
this is exactly Ed's point.
Yeah.
Is that you can drop it really fast.
Right.
You can't fill it fast.
I was thinking too, regarding the watering issue, I mean, we could even do an educational campaign where even houses, water on the even days and odd,
Or,
Addresses.
like I said, I would think 90% of the people on the lake are hooked into the emails, okay?
Yeah.
And when the weather, we see that, for the village to spit out an email saying, we're gonna have extreme heat, could you reduce your water
And
consumption?
we could do
out of-
it specifically if it's already at a low level, right?
Right,
If we're,
right.
if we're, you take this, you say, okay, if we're way up here, right, and we don't have rain,
Right.
we can have people just use the lake as normal for, we know the rate. Now, we could say 14 days, and if there's plenty left, but if we started at the bottom and it's gonna be dry, you know that you can't make it 14 days without turning the pumps on, so we
And
can,
I'm not against them using water by any means, but it's costing us all,
okay.
to maintain those levels.
So we can set up alarms on the transducer and stuff, we can do some things to help with that, but just, at least we know what it does right now. Okay, so the next one here is the summer rain impact, right? So this plot is accumulated rain, right? And the top is the lake level, right? So I just zoomed in on 2 areas where we had a bunch of rain. And so it was over 7 days. How much rain did we have over 7 days? And how much did the lake go up, right? So the first time, we had 1.22 inches of rain over 7 days, and the lake went up 2.07 inches. So the lake actually rises 1.7 inches for every inch of rain we get. And then the second one was the same thing. We got 1.82 inches of rain, and the lake went up 3.23 inches. So again, it was.
Explain that?
It's because it's a dumping ground.
Right, the runoff.
We're getting runoff not just from the area that is the lake.
Right.
But
All
all
the
the
side
water
streets, every street we
Yeah,
have.
that's right.
The
So
the
our
lake is the
lake,
lowest elevation in the village.
right, so our lake goes up, for every inch of rain, it's gonna go up 1.7 times that. Okay? So this is the summary on the back, just for everybody to notice, we're all educated now. We can fill it 0.3 inches a day. The rain fills it 1.75 times, and I rounded these. The natural draw rate is about 0.2 inches a day, and forced drain rate can be almost an inch a day, probably without much of a problem.
Did a nice job on this.
Yeah, I'd like to make a recommendation, if I may, that you attend the council meeting and present this to the council.
Sure.
Because I think it's an important thing for all council people to realize, not only what you went through to develop it, but the numbers are there.
Yep.
And
Use it to help.
like, I've got my copy. Anybody else that isn't gonna use their copy,
There's 2 extras over there.
okay, and then, if you send that through and have the girls make a copy for all the council people at the meeting coming up on Wednesday. And if you could, I think the presentation would be very important to the community.
Okay.
Because you put a lot of work in, and it's numbers, and we know what those numbers are with this.
Yep, but I think we can use this, try and think about, like I said, now it's gonna take some active monitoring and
Sure.
understand, like, if we wanna say, hey, guys, chill out with water in the lawn for 5 days or something, if you don't want us to turn the pumps on, or let's close the sluice gates in March instead of
Right.
April or something like that.
But again, I just think it's something that all the council people should see and know what is actually involved here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to cover that for lake level. That's learnings of 2021 on lake level, given that we have the transducer now.
Good job.
Okay,
Great job, thank you.
so next noteworthy complaints from the village. So we've had quite a few, I would say, no less than 4 that I know of. Some of them not so helpful, some of them helpful. I think people have seen them. Couple on Facebook just asking for the harvester to get out there. I think every one of these is completely 100% based on the fact that the harvester is not running. So I'll say that to start. We got a complaint earlier in August from the household of 2360 Ventura. They're complaining, basically, I'll read it verbatim. It says, "I don't know if anyone else commented on the condition of our lake, but if they haven't, they should. None of the chemicals in this village do any good to control the weeds. If anything, they're stronger, greener, and more prolific. Some other recourse must be taken, etc." So I contacted that homeowner. They didn't get back to me. I contacted them again. They got back to me and said, I asked them, can you send some pictures? I drove my boat past their house. I didn't see it myself, but then they said they'd send pictures, and I never got any pictures. So there was no further information that I had there. We had this other one from a gentleman named Tim Martin, which was the house you drove past today on the boat, which was probably one of the most educational complaints we've ever had, which is just talking about the fact that they've got what he called looking like spaghetti noodles floating in the lake. The weeds are long and stringy and to me look like spaghetti noodles. He had pictures, talked about the history. Please share this information with the water board at the earliest opportunity. So we sent it to Paul. He said it was wild celery. Basically talked about, that the treatment of it is difficult. It's a late blooming plant. And that, I don't know if you guys all saw his response, but he sent a response. I didn't send it directly to Paige, but you've gone out there now. He probably confirmed it was celery. So we definitely have a problem as far as not having the harvester running. Celery is not something that's easily removed with chemicals. It's got like a waxy outer coating apparently. So again, it's something that really needs the harvester running.
Well, we had all this sunlight,
Yeah.
and that, grass was growing crazy too. But I remember a couple of years back, we had the same problem with this, and he did not put the chemical in, and it has to go in early. You can't put it in now to kill that wild celery.
Yep.
It should have been in like a couple months ago. And I don't know if he did or not, but it seems like every time I looked outside, there was another sign on the lawn.
Yeah.
And that's the only other thing maybe you can answer this, because I couldn't, from what he said, if you're putting chemical in Penny Lake, do you have to do the whole lake?
No.
Okay.
No.
So if there's a sign in my yard, that means whatever they're doing is in my area.
No.
No.
The sign, whatever goes in the lake anywhere, has to show up on the sign.
Yeah.
But the chemical didn't necessarily go in front of you. So you could have
Right.
0 chemicals applied in front of your house, you're still getting the sign.
No,
with all those
that's
chemicals.
not
Well, that's what
true.
I asked you. I said,
I've had 2 occasions where I've had no signs in my yard, and there were signs in other sections of the
Only
lake.
because they missed it. Only because they missed it.
Well, they missed a few houses all along
Yeah.
my area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's-
know what the spacing is. Does
No,
every
it's
house get a
So-
sign?
Every
Okay.
yard.
correct,
Every yard is
correct me if
supposed to
I'm
get a
wrong,
sign.
because I asked you the first time, I said, if you're putting in chemicals in Penny Lake, do you have to put,
I thought you meant the application of the chemicals. If
No,
you put them in
yeah.
Penny Lake, do they have to be applied everywhere? That's what I said.
no,
to.
but the signage goes all through.
Yes.
Signage
And
has to.
I've asked the question
And if you're in
specifically.
Penny Lake and somebody in my neighborhood or even myself want to water the lawn, I go, oh, it says I can't do it.
Yeah, the only way to know, and I've done the same thing, and
have
I've
to check the
emailed
mail.
Paul specifically about that, because I planted all new grass, right? And it said, don't water anything for 15 days or something. And I was like, or it was like right in the middle of like the best time to grow grass. It's
Yeah.
like towards the end of the year. And then I said, how do I know, like, can I actually do it? And then he said, oh yeah, you could refer to the map. It shows you where the chemicals are actually applied. The sign has to go everywhere, regardless of where the chemicals are
Okay.
applied. It goes on the sign. You're good. It's not going to be, it wouldn't affect you. You're good, right? So I had that conversation with Paul. I'm 99% sure.
All right.
But the harvester's working though, right?
The harvester is supposedly working as of this week.
Because
Ran
I,
in Tuesday for
Yeah,
half
ran-
the day at least.
yeah,
Okay.
because I looked up, all the people on the South Shore
You gotta
were out there
remember
with
the
their
guy that
cigarette
works
lighters.
at-
Yeah, and there's someone
Goes to
that-
school.
Yeah. He was out there a while.
Yeah. So with that said, I literally think every complaint we have, 2 of them were people simply requesting the harvester to come by, and 2 of them were complaints, which I think are due to no harvester. So noteworthy complaints, I think it's it's because we don't have the harvester running, which is now running, so I'm hoping it addresses it.
I don't know if this falls under that category, if it's anything that, certainly not under our purview to do anything about, I don't think, but there was on Facebook, there was the complaints about a barge party that seemed to get a little bit.
Yeah, they had to break that up.
Yeah.
It was
And
supposed
it's
to be
like-
done at 7, and at 7:30 they weren't gone. and-
Well, and a couple of party attenders gave some chin music to some of the authorities that were trying to
Yeah.
move them along, but I don't know if there's anything in the water.
Boy,
Management board.
I tell you what, if I had to live in front of that every day, I would have been moved out of Wolverine Lake a hell of a long time ago.
Well, I guess the good thing is it's not every day. I mean,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
was.
And it's a
you know,
fundraiser and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right.
No, the barge party, but I mean, you know, just think about it. In that canal, the people that try to bring their boat out just to use the lake, you know, have to go all the way around or dodge everybody. And I can't believe that you're allowed to anchor and have a party in the no-wake zone between Penny Lake and Wolverine Lake.
Sure you can.
They do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And what do you do when you're going through like this, you know, oh, there's kids swimming over there, watch out for this, watch out for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I says, hey, I can't go any slower.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you're
That is an
only
issue.
allowed to anchor in no-wake zones and within 100 feet of shore. It's
Yeah,
a-
it gets crazy.
it's a
And
place where you're allowed.
Do you
to
think
anchor.
they anchor a little farther out than 100 feet from shore?
But it's a no-wake zone, so you're allowed to.
Pardon?
It's a no-wake zone, so you're allowed to.
The no-wake zone is behind them. When you're talking about,
No, you're talking
We're talking about here. Right?
Well, which one are you talking about? You're just talking
No,
about
that-
Phoenix.
yeah, that.
That's what you're just talking about. Yeah,
that's the other one. But the other one,
This,
that's,
this one, yeah, they're not supposed to
Yeah.
anchor where they do.
no. And they do.
This one, you were just talking about that. Yeah, this one's okay. This one, Chief just let them do it.
Yeah. But I don't know I think we should turn that over to our safety guy.
I don't know what he's gonna do.
Actually,
Get a
last
mid-
time
I
I
mean-
spoke to the police, they preferred people to anchor over there and
Yeah.
not at the Penny Lake.
Yeah.
Because at the Penny Lake, you're blocking the
That's his point.
drive-through.
Yeah, that was his point.
Right, so that's what the
The
police
ideal
always
place
tell
is to go
me.
down to the end of the lake where there's not, you know, you got
Right.
more space between land
Right, right,
and you're not intruding.
and
Not deep
usually,
enough.
But where though?
Yeah.
If you want to jump in,
pretty
you
shallow.
right,
jump in the
right where
mud.
you were pointing.
I'd say at the far end over here, you can't anchor unless you're in 100 feet to shore, right? You can only anchor in the no-wake zones.
But maybe there'll be more vigilance moving forward,
Yeah.
so that doesn't.
I don't know that there's any action for this board on.
No.
barge
No.
party.
That's
Yeah.
definitely a police matter.
Okay.
Okay,
You're off the hook, Mitch.
so we're gonna move on, if that's cool. So that's all in the administrative report. So chairperson's report, which I kind of just put it in the other level. Let's say due outs from last meeting. There's two things we should talk about. Two motions went to council. Both of them got kind of rejected or sent back. One was, we discussed about getting the Eagle involved in trying to figure out what's going on in the, with the Solano house. They basically said, Eagle doesn't do that, they're not gonna help with anything, so we're not gonna do anything. So we sent it up there, they said no. I don't think there's anything else to do there, really, but I just wanted to bring it up.
What are you referring to?
So the house back in Solano, in the corner there, that has like really bad algae problems.
Uh-huh.
We made a motion maybe 3 months ago at this point to recommend that maybe we get Eagle involved to try and help us figure out what we could do there. Basically, council's opinion was that that's not something Eagle can help us with, so they didn't bother. So they rejected it. And then the second motion we had, which we'll talk about briefly now, was this aeration head removal. We sent a motion to council requesting that they remove the heads, not remove the heads, remove the aeration hoses with the heads, try and save them if possible, keep them in storage, something, right? We sent it to them with no price. It's kind of a bad motion. Sent it to them with no price, even though we had a quote. The quote was over a year old, and they're only good for 90 days, right? So they rejected that motion because it was not enough information. They said send it back, talk about it, and send it back. So we should spend some time talking about that.
Plus, wasn't the original quote was what, $6,000
Yeah.
or $8,000?
Yeah, so we'll talk,
Right.
I don't want to talk about the actual new quote until we get to aeration and continuing business, but just so you know, both of the motions we sent to council got rejected.
Right.
Okay, that's all I have for 9. So moving on, continuing business. I don't know that we have anything to add here, but I'll just blast through these. So continuing business, plant control and invasive species. I don't know that we have anything to add there, so no comment. Signage at the boat launch. The last time we talked about this, it is something that has to get approved by the DNR. They're obviously doing a dock renovation right now. Certainly if we had some input, I don't even know how to get it to them, but.
I went down there and looked at it,
Yeah.
and the sign is really put in a poor place.
Yeah,
Because it's kind of like, well, when you turn this way and back up, it's right there.
yeah.
But most of the people are trying to figure out which way I gotta turn my wheel to make the trailer go the way I wanna go.
Yeah.
And that should be, just as you come down there, before you get to make the turn and back up, and it's a big enough sign, move it. And I asked the guy that was doing the construction there, and I said, is there anybody here that makes decisions for the DNR? And he says, nobody does. So, and I was trying to get a hold of DNR, but I can't believe that where that sign is located is something can't be moved to make it more visible.
Yeah, so does anybody know what, I don't know if we've discussed at council or if we have any insight at all to what the DNR is doing to the launch?
They're replacing the,
Well,
Replacing
my
the
understanding, and I might be wrong, because I was talking to one of the guys, was a big slab of concrete goes out, okay? And then some of these big boats that come in here, or even small boats, they don't want to get their car wet or their trailer, so they get the boat nose down the trailer, and then it's, and they power themselves up on the trailer, washing the sand away. So now, if you take your trailer and go too far and you go off
goes
that
way back,
concrete,
yeah.
you ain't pulling it out, not even with a car.
Yeah.
You gotta go up
the
to
wheels fall
lift the
right
wheels,
on down.
because it falls right down almost on the frame. I would have thought they would have just dumped some gravel back there, but it looks like,
they're gonna replace
I
all
think
of it.
that's what they're doing.
I say, it's fairly steep back there too, I don't know if they, even before you fall off, the ramp itself is fairly steep there. It's hard, at least when I get my boat on, I have the trailer like this, the boat's coming in like this, and it's like a crazy angle. It's not like,
It's not as bad as some
I don't,
boat
yeah, I
launches,
say,
let
I
me
don't
tell you
power
about
load my
that.
boat on there, but like, I can't even
Seen
get
worse.
Yeah.
it on the
It's steep.
trailer.
Plus
right.
the water level.
Yeah,
Doesn't help.
yeah, obviously. it does. Okay, so is there an opportunity, if we're, I would say, we have to strike while the iron's hot here, if we're gonna make some kind of recommendation or do something with signage at the boat launch, and we're in the middle of a boat launch renovation, now would be the time to provide the input, so.
Well,
I don't
and
know.
I hear what you're saying about when they're backing up, they're not gonna pay attention to that, but then you gotta walk to the dock to get on your boat, so
Yeah.
don't they see that when they walk
Yeah,
back?
Sign is right.
Yeah,
at
they
the
should.
dock.
Yeah, that's what I would think,
When
is
I
that
was
they're not
looking at
doing
it,
it while
I'm
they're
like,
driving.
Right, I would
Well, the
think,
other piece would be the person that's tied the boat up and
I
is
haven't
standing there
seen a
waiting
whole lot
for
of
it.
construction down there, though.
Yeah, there
It
hasn't
hasn't
started
started
yet.
yet.
It hasn't started. It's
And
supposed
not
to
till the
start.
14th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They basically said in beginning of October to the 14th, it's going to be limited parking. And then from the 14th to the end of the month, there's no launch, right, for the full renovation. So that means the month of October is our window. So if we want to somehow make a recommendation to change something, I don't know if we have a strong recommendation. I agree, when people get
If you can
out of the
find,
boat
if you
and
can
walk down
find
the
me a
window.
phone number for the DNR, I'd be more than happy to talk to them.
There's a number on the posting from the DNR, if you wanted to call. I seen the post from you get emails from the village?
I went to the village and got the number they gave me,
Okay.
and it was just, this number is no longer a working number.
I'll have to look at my email that I have. Do you have your, well, I don't know. if
I'm
it
trying
came
to see if I
across
can
the
pull
water
up.
board.
look at it online.
Yeah, I believe
I'm
it
sure
was
it's
on
online.
the emails we got on the water board also.
So boat launch
And
closure.
is the sign at the boat launch like
They're on the
just a
bottom right
paper
there, isn't it?
sign?
No, it's wooden.
Bottom right
Yeah.
there.
But
If you
behind
have any
glass?
questions or would like more information about the closure,
I don't think
please
so.
contact
No,
DNR
no,
Proudly.
I think it's like plastic.
Right.
Okay.
Ed,
I was just wondering.
write this number down.
248-685-2433. And this,
685 what?
2433.
2436.
33.
33? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so 248-685-2433. It says, it's talking about if you have any questions or like more information about the closure, please contact the DNR Proud Lake Recreation Area. That's the number. So I don't know if I don't know that this has anything to do with us making a motion to council. I don't think so. I think we could probably, if you want to just reach out to them, I don't know if we just need to understand what the plan is, if we think there's any opportunity for improvement, or if they're changing anything at all, but
Well,
we keep talking about
I don't
the
think
sign.
we want to move it till they're done, because they might be changing the,
Shape, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think
To
maybe we
travel.
just ask, yeah, oh yeah, that'd be a great idea. Maybe they will just move it due to all this construction.
Yeah, they might be putting a brand new one in. We
Yeah,
don't even know what the plan is.
Yeah, maybe we should just ask what the plan is.
well, the only trouble is they can put down all the rules that they have, but we have rules that other lakes don't have.
Yeah.
And our rules aren't on there?
They're on the signs.
Our rules are on the
They're
sign.
on the
That's what I
sign.
thought.
So what do we want to do here?
I think Ed's gonna call the DNR and
Yeah.
find out what's going on.
Let me call them and see if the number works, I'll call them tomorrow.
Are they also responsible for the boat rinse station, or is that something
Boat
that's?
washing
That's
station.
our responsibility.
Which is just empty.
I mean, that thing, I go by there,
Sounds like a
it's
nightmare.
empty a lot.
It has
and-
never been, it hasn't been
And it
full in
almost
2
looks
years.
like it's just like a weed sprayer thing.
It
I mean,
is.
there's no
It is.
pressure, it's like,
Yeah, it's just a weed spray.
It's
though.
not
Yeah, you
supposed
have
to be
pump it up,
pressure.
don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not supposed to physically wash stuff off your boat. It's supposed to kill anything that's on your boat so that it doesn't
Sprays.
spread into the lake.
Yeah. It's a chemical,
it's a chemical
Yeah.
thing.
you get sprayed on
And, you
the
know,
boat.
my point has been, to me, it's, excuse the expression, it's
Because
backwards.
it's for when you pull it out.
I want you to wash your boat before you put it in Wolverine, not when you leave.
Yeah,
Right.
So it's on the
Some
wrong
make
side
you
of the
do it
road.
both,
right.
like when you go to
Well,
public
come on, you're
pool.
asking a lot now.
But nobody, like, people,
Because if you come out there and you got fish, you want to get right home and have the wife clean it and cook it.
or yourself, clean it.
I did that for you.
I know.
I clean my own fish.
Okay, so signage at the boat launch, are we just gonna leave it as Ed follows up with
Well,
DNR? Or do we have some recommendation of where we'd like the sign?
It
Move the
gets-
sign?
Honestly, I don't know what
You
the
don't know
problem
what
is
their
with
plan is.
the placement it is right now, because like I said, it's, as you walk back onto the dock to get on
Yeah.
your boat, it's kind of like right there.
Yeah, I hear you.
I looked at it like, I don't think that's that big of a problem, I mean, where else you
I
gonna
mean,
put
we
it?
were originally talking about not necessarily the placement, but the sign
The
itself
type of
that
sign,
nobody reads
right.
it. But,
We could,
I have to see what it looks like.
yeah,
It's,
I
it's
could-
not pretty and,
No, it's yellow
like, I got
with
some
red
great
text.
pictures
Right.
of some other signs
Well, maybe we
with
need a sign
pictures
that
of
says,
the
"Stop
lake.
Take this sign.
you have to remember,
We could take a break and go on a field trip.
There.
Yeah.
you've got to remember, when you
It's got
bring
the
your
rules.
That's
boat
what they
in
do in
and
my
get
other
it in the
meetings.
water, the kids are jumping, everybody wants to get on their boat and go, and you're carrying stuff.
Okay, so how about
and
we do
you're not
this?
looking around. But we really, and I know we put that sign in there. The DNR did not.
Oh,
But until they get done doing whatever we're gonna do, then we should say, hey, get the chief down there, him and I go down and say, where would this sign be more noticeable
I want one
and
like that.
be right there in your face?
Can we punt on this topic, and then maybe right after this meeting,
Yeah.
just go walk down there if anybody's
Yeah.
interested,
Yeah.
and say, why don't we do this? And then when you talk to the DNR, find out what the plan is, and maybe take that feedback. I don't think it's something that we're making motions to council for. I think it's just,
right.
let's
Well, the
go
other thing-
walk
yeah.
down 20 feet and go look at it.
Yeah.
And I think this will be a long-term plan.
But if the DNR is moving stuff right now, we might be able to say, can you put it here?
Right,
Take a picture, send it to them. I don't know.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna punt on that. Maybe right after this meeting, we'll go walk down there.
Okay.
Sewer SAT initiative, the only update there is that the informational meeting, I believe, is this week.
Is that, well, that's, should be the first,
It's this
we had the
first-
informational meeting, we had the first public meeting,
First public hearing on the,
and I didn't see an announcement about that. I know we
yeah,
got
I think
40,
it's this month.
okay.
Yeah.
So we got 43 folks signed up,
It's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people that couldn't flush their toilets when they went, because they were on that source system.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but we
funny.
talked to them about, they came to the informational meeting. If we'd have had a gravity sewer system, there wouldn't have been, I can sign up now or not. It's, when they do that, everybody's in all the time. There was no, we can shine up later because the
Yeah, they
gravity
do it.
system dug too deep.
Yeah, but the trouble
So-
was without electricity,
Oh, yeah.
you got about 2 flushes, and there's nobody else pushing the waste
but you also don't-
up
yeah,
Oakview and onto Glengarry.
But you don't have any water anyway, and if
Yeah.
you do, you got a generator, and then all of the pumps have generator connections if you want them to run it.
Well, no, that's a
No, that
special
doesn't
hookup.
matter.
Yeah, there's a
Even,
special-
even if you have your own water
It's
and
not
the
an
generator
automatic.
to run the pump,
You have to pay
every,
extra for the
every
generator
house
hookup.
helps push that waste
Oh, yeah.
in the pipe towards Glengarry.
Yeah.
And if you're the only one waste is pushing, because you got a generator, it ain't gonna go much past your property.
That's fine, so long as your tank doesn't fill up and come back into your house. That was the issue.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if you're on a septic, as long as you go to the lake and get a bucket of water and you're good to go.
It all needs power.
Anyway, there's
It all
always-
needs power.
So
Yeah.
the first special assessment district meeting, informational meeting, is September 8th at 7 PM. So that's the last day for people to sign up,
Yeah.
for anybody that was interested. And then after that date, there's a second public hearing of which you can drop off. But that's it. It's next Wednesday, 7 PM council meeting. So
Alright.
that is well underway. Okay, aeration. If we're cool with that.
We're
Okay,
good for
so
now.
here's the deal with the aeration. It used to cost $6,000. It was $5,895 to remove the lines, and that didn't include the cost of the dumpster. So you had to get a 30-foot dumpster, and then for $6,000, they would take all the stuff out and throw it in the garbage for you, right? And then so we said, let's go ahead and take all the stuff out and save it if we can. They're of the opinion that you can't save it. We contacted them again. They basically said there's so many unknowns that basically every time they pull them out, it's not salvageable. They basically said that the heads are not the expensive part. They're not worth saving or trying to sell. The hoses are not reusable. So the pond guy, they're of the opinion that this is not something you salvage or just keep. They're also saying for 2 days, 4 people to pull these things out. Now the price is $9,295. So it's $3,000 more expensive, and that's just to throw them away. If you want to try and save them, have them coil them back up, put them somewhere, the price would go up accordingly. This $9,295 does not include the dumpster.
Is there any reason we just don't leave them in the
So
lake?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay, so then.
It's just plastic.
This is the other piece I said, that we followed up on, which was saying, is there any downside to just leaving them in there? The pond guy basically says there's no downside to just leaving them in there, right?
There
It's
you
just
go.
conceptually saying, we're abandoning the system and leaving garbage in the lake. And we would figure if we don't want to spend the $10,000, that's the deal. Let me just see, okay, so the labor costs have gone up. So everything would be a little bit higher. That's the $10,000 quote. They don't know the condition of the airlines or the diffusers until they see them. The original quote was just to pull everything out of the lake. She said most of the cost is the length of the airlines. And if we want to try and reuse them, they would have to be recoiled, and the cost for them to do that would be significantly more. She said the diffusers are relatively inexpensive. Rather than try to reuse them, she would say it would almost be less expensive to buy new ones. And she said there's no downside to leaving the hoses in the lake, like a lot of other things that end up at the bottom of a lake.
What about the compressors? Those are
Compressors we have in
stored.
storage.
Huh?
Compressors we already have in storage.
Okay, so if we're not gonna use aerator, do we have any value in them?
Do the
I
compressors?
don't know, I would say the compressors still probably have some value, but I don't know
No,
that.
because we're talking about that end of Penny Lake that is always stagnant.
Yeah.
You know, it's a dead end, and it's right by South Commerce, and
Well,
Hook
theoretically,
a
there's
bubbler
already
to
a
that.
couple.
That's where the
aerators
aerators are though, right now, right? We have heads down there now,
Yeah.
we could connect, but we'd have to go through, that's the whole point. Go through the permit process, reconnect them. If we want to go through and set them up, you could set them in the canals or something. It's the whole permitting process and the testing that has to go along with it. That's kind
Right.
of the problem, which is, it's feasible. We have somebody who's now the aeration.
So we'll have to come up with a proposal and exactly all what you have to do to make that happen.
But at this point, all we have to talk about is,
I didn't think we'd have to get another permit, because we already have a permit.
They're only good for
Penny
so
Lane.
many years.
you have to go through the whole process again.
I see, I should have guessed that.
That's how the state works.
So, right now, all we have to do is talk about the motion that we previously made, which was to remove this stuff for $6,000, and now for $10,000, do we still want to remove it, or do we want to just do nothing?
I make a motion to leave it in the bottom of the lake.
Good idea.
Do we even need to make a motion?
I don't think
to
we
do
need a
that?
motion.
I think we
You
just
don't need a motion.
do nothing.
Ignore it and
All right.
leave it.
What would be the cost, though, of moving them to where they could be used properly, or where they're needed?
My guess is it's the same, because they're gonna have to pull them out.
Or more.
Right, it's
Yeah.
$10,000 to pull them
But-
out, put them
but
back
Here's the
in.
thing, we have how many in the lake? 4 or 5?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, there's probably 12.
Okay,
26.
if you took
How many?
one
26
and moved it,
was the
you know, like your
magic
point,
number.
you know, utilize one, or possibly
whatever.
Salerno, is it, where the guy has the problem?
Yeah,
Can
so-
one be put
You
back
can't use them
there?
in the canal, but it theoretically could be used at other points around the lake if you could get electricity to them.
Why not the canal, Kathy?
I'm sorry?
Why not the canal?
They're not in the right configuration. The
Oh.
canal you would want to bubble in a direction, not straight up.
But this is one that we talked about also in the canal, trying to use the Helmford pump house
Yes.
and turning the outlet nozzle. We said that in the beginning of the year,
And we
and
never
followed up on it.
heard word, last Mark told me was, the plan was to get it fixed. But we've had troubles with administrative, now we just lost a treasurer.
Yeah.
I mean,
We basically,
we're having,
we're saying
Just-
at that Helmsford pump house, when we run the
Just
occupation.
drop the whole thing, just forget it.
Yeah.
Leave it in the lake.
This is it, by the way. That's what it looks like. That's how many hoses are in there.
Oh, wow.
Right, it's 4 different pumps and a bunch of different hoses and heads, so it's not like pull out
Are the
10
pumps underwater, too?
No, the pumps are on the shore.
Pumps on the shore.
So we, at this point in time, are saying punt, right?
Yeah.
Leave it
Yeah.
as is. If we decide we're gonna do something, it won't be with these hoses.
Okay,
But if we do go through the permit, maybe we think about
well,
down
let me
here,
go
run
find
these
out,
again.
yeah, what
Okay.
exactly the permit entails.
Okay, so we're punting on aerators. Transponders, I'm not gonna comment on that anymore. We beat Lake Level to death already. Harvester discussion, it's been down, it's back. It's a zombie. Okay, Lakeshore maintenance, erosion cleanup, debris removal. I've got nothing to talk about there. I don't know if anybody has anything to talk about there.
No,
I don't know how long you people have lived here, but do you remember on Fridays, you take all the weeds that washed up on your property and take it out on the road? And the DPW would come and pick it up?
no.
Will they do that?
No.
No, not
That was
anymore.
one of the, when the council took the trash out of the taxes, and that was one of the stipulations, because it was not the idea was a $200,000 house on the lake and a $100,000 house off the lake. Why should the $200,000 house be paying twice as much in taxes for trash removal? So it was removed so everybody would pay the same thing. But one of the stipulations was, because we have compost, that if you brought that stuff up, the DPW would not pick it up anymore. Let it dry out, put it in a compost pail or bags, and the compost people will pick it up.
Yeah, you could still throw it out, you just have to dry it out
Right,
and
yeah.
bag it.
It's not a
You
big
can't
deal.
just throw it on the
No,
ground.
no.
I mean, I do it all the time, put it on a tarp, let it dry
Yeah.
out, throw it in the plastic paper bag, put it on the curb.
How often do you have to do that?
I do it a lot right now, every day when the harvester runs,
Okay, you
because
too,
they chop
okay.
the
I
weeds.
thought it all came to my house.
No, it's mine.
Well, you're on Tampa? Are you in
No,
Tampa?
I'm on Laguna.
Laguna. Yeah, so, I mean, there are areas, I can say, we had this discussion last year about the harvester and the chopped up weeds,
Yeah.
and we suspected it was all mostly from boats, but definitely this year, it's far less floating out there. It's definitely from the harvester.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
it's
how
fairly
is that,
different.
though? I mean, I thought it collects all that stuff.
So it's designed to collect a lot of it, but
Yeah.
clearly it's not collecting it all.
Right.
I don't think that it's necessarily,
Well, it's impossible when
To
it
collect
makes it cut
Yeah.
for everything to go up the
lawnmower.
conveyor.
It's like
With
your
bag.
lawnmower, getting everything going in the bag.
Yeah.
One of the tough parts is because I've run the older one, and I've used it. If you know which way the wind's going, and it's going this way, you cut this way, then you come back this way, and anything that floated over, you're gonna pick it up. And you keep going like that. But then you get to a certain point where you've got docks and boats, and you gotta stop. And that's the debris.
Oh, when you stop, stuff floats off.
back out.
You know.
Right.
But if you've ever been on it or watched it go by, you're amazing how much stuff it picks up.
Yeah. So we had, like I said, we had a lot of complaints last year from,
We always have though.
but I'm saying from
Then the
floating
lake's
weeds.
too weedy, and then there's too much weed.
But I'm saying floating weeds last year, we had a lot of complaints. This year, not a whole lot of complaints on
'Cause we didn't
floating
have a
weeds because we
harvester.
haven't had a harvester.
Yeah,
So,
I could tell as soon as it got back in operation.
But it's either complaint you got floating weeds, or the weeds are coming up from the
Yeah.
bottom.
Right.
So
I'll take the
it's a
floating,
no-win.
I'll take the floating.
Yeah, it's a no-win.
okay. Okay. Next section is enforcement issues, boat lighting requirements, et cetera. I don't know anything there. I did send an email to the police chief, because one of the light up buoys is not lighting up, the one by the bridge. It's not lighting up anymore. So that's the only thing that I'm aware of in that
Well, that's not
environment.
very old.
No, it's actually,
Kinda
That other
disappointed.
buoy appeared at the
Yeah,
other end.
yeah.
That
They-
makes
they-
some people happy.
yeah, so in case anybody doesn't realize, remember we had the people come in here talking about put the no wake zone at the end?
Yeah.
And then we said, hey, guess what? It is a no wake zone.
Yeah.
They had the petition going and everything.
Yeah.
Said, it is a no wake zone. Go talk to the police chief. So they did throw that buoy down there.
Saw that.
So-
And somebody had removed it.
Yeah.
And brought it in.
Somebody thought it was
They
theirs or
thought it
something.
floated away.
That's funny.
They thought it was from the beach or something.
Yeah.
But, yes, I mean, that happened this year, right? People came in here, they had the petition, shambled it away. I think they're happy, so that was good.
Did the DNR have to authorize that?
No.
No, because.
It's all under under the table agreement, I think.
It's in our ordinance.
Yeah.
For the no-wake area.
Yep. So.
Yeah, that's
police-
a
police chief took
gray
care of it.
area.
Police chief took care of it. That's all that matters.
Right.
Okay, plant control and invasive species. I'm really, if you guys don't mind, I'm probably gonna chop up this continuing business so we don't hit all of these every time, but,
Okay.
I have nothing to add here.
It's fine
The
with
only
me.
thing we can talk about briefly now and in the winter is, so Mike wanted to talk about a new boat washing station, right?
Mhm.
So the one thing, I didn't recognize it, it was on some piece of paper last time, right? And I forgot what it's called. But the state of Michigan has a portable system that's heated and power washed
Okay.
that you can sign up for, and they come to your,
And install it?
no, borrow it for a weekend. It's to raise awareness. It's to get people to use it, kind of a thing, right?
Okay.
We could possibly sign up, I think, over the winter, so, because by the time I saw it in the MLSA, you couldn't sign up anymore.
Okay.
Like, it came in one of our MLSA emails back like in May, and everything was already signed up for the whole summer. I forgot what they call it. But if you guys want to try and do something like that,
If you want to do it for next year, maybe, but I wouldn't bother with it this year.
well, you can't, it's over.
Right.
I mean, you have to sign
Is
up.
it specifically plant related or it's for like
It's-
zebra mussels?
They're probably
No,
going to tell you
it's-
you already got one, so you can't use
Yeah, they
that.
probably will tell me that, but, in order to get to upgrade ours, it's gonna be significantly expensive, not to mention, right, we don't have a lot of room. There's just not a lot of physical space to pull your car in there or boat and hose it down. And then you have to worry about the water drainage too. And then you're gonna just have a
You
giant
just
muddy
can't let it
mess.
run on the ground.
Right, I think that's the other thing, you can't just let it run on the ground.
I think we get away with that one because most people, I haven't seen many people use it. I did one guy and he just squirted the back of the motor and that was it.
Right, because when the state of Michigan comes to do this, they lay a tarp down to collect all that dirty water. So, in other words, for us to do it, it might not be physically possible. I don't know.
unfortunately, everything we could get in our lake, we've got them. We've got zebra mussels, we've got goby, we got all that other stuff, so
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna keep anything out by spraying a boat, unfortunately. It's too late. But you pull something out of the lake and there's zebra mussels just completely cover it.
I pulled an anchor out of the lake that God knows how long it's been down there. It was basically a zebra mussel anchor.
There's a lot of stuff in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
so-
in
so
this
Ryan-
section, though, I noticed the Huron Valley Watershed Council, wasn't that something Mike Sargent was gonna try to?
He was part of that. They said they meet 4 times a year, and then he would just provide any updates that are there.
So he's gonna stay with that?
Mike Sargent?
Yeah,
He quit the board.
right, okay, all right. For some reason, I thought you were saying he agreed to go ahead and keep doing
No.
that piece of it, all right.
No. So, I don't, should we have somebody else join that? I don't even know really what it was.
Yeah, let me look into that. He
Yeah.
was trying to be like on the committee
Okay.
Yeah.
and not just like a member. So like I'm a member of the Tip of the Mitt watershed because I have a home there. So I get all their emails all the time and all their distributions for all their activities. I don't know why we can't just be a member and get all their information.
Okay, so you want to take it?
Yeah,
take that?
I'll
So-
look-
Okay. So
I'll
for
look
Huron
into
Valley
that.
Watershed Council, Kathy will look into how to get the information. Maybe
Yep.
we'll learn something.
Yeah.
So Water Management Board goals and objectives. I've reached out to her twice to try and get what he's worked on. I couldn't find a copy. I'm sure he emailed us a copy of it at some point in time. So
Okay.
he has not replied to me. I feel like it's something that I would spend some time adding to or trying to update it. Just like we said, the Parks and Rec, their board has some goals outlined and documented, which I think is valuable.
Yeah.
I don't have a copy of what he has, and I've been hesitant to just start it from scratch. So I would say if anybody happens to have a copy of
I'll
that
look.
document,
Yeah, I'll look for it.
I'll look for
I'm
it,
sure
too.
he sent us a draft at some point.
Yeah,
I could not find it.
okay.
So, and I reached out to him twice, he didn't get back to me. Clean boats, clean waters. Do we know? Again.
That's
I'm
what
not-
it's called. That's what I was just talking about.
That's
I couldn't
that
remember what it
station.
was called.
Okay.
That's why he put it on there.
Clean boat, this is the station
That's,
thing?
yeah, you rent the station from,
So do we want to look into this? or do we
how about
wanna
this?
stop
I'll
talking about
make a
it?
note, I'll just look into it and find out the details over the winter.
Okay.
And then we can vote if that's something we want to do next summer.
Yes.
What do you call it? Clean?
Clean boats and clean waters.
That's what it is.
Okay, website content. So I started this. We did get the budget. I have to go through it. I'm not educated enough on the budget to know what we can spend where. I'll probably lean on you guys to try and understand that. I have a call with Condic next week. Yep, to try and go, for me, all those line items, I mean, John Scott and Mike Hurst kind of did that. I don't really know what we can do in each of those budget categories. I don't know if anybody here is a budget type of person. I'm not, but I'll try and learn.
Just for your information, what they do is, just because you're on this board or other, wherever that money goes, like if they need DPW to do something, it's charged to water board. If it's an attorney, it's charged to water board. So you're kind of like through the whole thing, and you gotta, decipher where you're at in there under what categories
Yeah.
to total about what you got.
If Andy's looking at the
treasurer can
transponder or
tell you in
something,
about a
that'll
minute,
end up
'cause he
back
just-
to,
Yeah, so
stuff like that.
what we had, I bring this up because of the website content. When we put the budget together, we talked about throwing money in there for developing some stuff for the website. I keep talking about this map idea that I think would be valuable, not just for the water board or not just for the purposes of the water board, but as a community. I started writing down the types of things that I think would be valuable there, but I don't know if that ever actually made it into one of these budget line items that we can make a recommendation based on. But
Right.
I'm currently working on something to say what I think we could add to the website as far as this kind of map that I have in my brain. But that's really the only thing I know that's going on for the website content. I think the rest of it, I haven't been on there in a little while. It's got the link to the transponder, it's got the the ordinances, it's got the key content. I really think just some kind of map that we can link to would be where we need to improve it. But I have a meeting with the treasurer to go through this budget to understand like how it all works.
Did we get a new treasurer?
No, but I was gonna talk with Mike.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We lost another treasurer?
I think.
Didn't we just?
We just hired.
We just got one.
Yeah, just like last week.
Really?
What?
Didn't we
Yeah.
just hire one?
Yeah.
Yeah, she only
Did they
lasted a
even
week.
start?
Yeah.
Came in for all the training, took a week, and she said, I can't do this. So I
Yeah.
felt it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was standing right next to Mark when he got the phone call.
What, did
That's
somebody
great.
hand her the budget sheet?
Yeah.
That'd do it for me.
Way too red.
My God.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right, so,
So we're kind of in a,
That man will be greatly missed.
okay, so I'm working on that. Okay, future business items, boat count, bird count, they're done for the year. I don't think we're doing anything there, so no need to talk about that, correct? We
Right.
counted the birds, we counted the boats.
Took the geese away.
Didn't manage the geese. So future business items, next agenda, I'll strike those off, we don't need to talk about that. I'm gonna rework some of this agenda hopefully for next time, so we're not talking about the same stuff over and over again. Okay, liaison report, council.
Well, as you just mentioned, our new treasurer worked a week and decided the job was too overwhelming. So we will probably discuss it at next Wednesday's meeting as to how we're going to go about finding a replacement. And, Mike, he's been trying to leave for 2 years. And I worry that...
If he's trying to leave for 2 years and he hasn't been able to yet, then he needs a raise.
I would just give him a
Let me
raise.
tell you something. I got chastised over, in one of the meetings in negotiations, because I suggested that we give him a 30% increase. Well, he filled in for the administrator
Yeah.
versus the 25% that we've been giving him. And the reason I felt that was because he kept the community intact. He ran the whole place. And he never questioned it, never balked. He was here every day. There was days he was here late. And so I just hope for our, and I say our, the village's point, that he doesn't decide that, hey, I'm going to pick a day and I'm done. And let's hope that he'll work with us on finding
think that's
somebody
gonna
to
happen.
train him. Because it's really become a burden, you know. And other than that, the same old, people are still complaining about trash pickup and referring to trees and branches and stuff but if they don't package them properly, it doesn't get done, okay? And I can't speak for, the down items of big trees and what the Edison is doing with trimming now. They do cutting, and then they have somebody else, I believe, that comes in after the fact to do the cleanup. I don't know what their time factors are, so, that leaves us as a community in limbo, because they're doing it, not us. Other than that, I can't say anything. Our meeting next Wednesday should be interesting, because of, like I say, we have to decide how we're gonna go about replacing the, I guess, part-time person that didn't last too long, so.
Next week will also be this sad meeting, so.
Yep.
First public hearing, yeah.
And thankful we do have Michael to be able to work through that with you people.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because he sure knows the answers.
Yep.
And he's been such a plus for, 15, 18 years here. Other than that, I have nothing further.
Yeah. Okay, planning?
Yeah,
Something about ovens and stuff? Pizza ovens?
still, yeah. No, actually, the pizza oven, there is, I think there was a motion there's going to be sent to council for a second reading of a rewriting of an ordinance that inadvertently burdened the people that don't live on the lake with the same ordinances, setbacks and things like easements. So they're going to correct that so that the people on the inside don't have those kinds of things. We looked at we're still looking at the pieces of the master plan and the land use map. They've come up with a mixed-use opportunity, we think, for the area in Glengarry that would include several of the buildings and the Glengarry Inn, so that they're kind of landlocked because we're zoned poorly for them to be able to expand their business. So this should take care of that if they do a mixed use, be able to have houses and other kinds of things there. And that's about it. We're going to keep, and we're still going to, we're still looking at the possibility of having a meeting with the zoning commission to talk about the pizzas and the pergolas and folks that have put things up that probably shouldn't have close to the shoreline. So some of the people that don't have those things want them. So we're looking at recommendations on how to address the next steps there.
You get a pizza oven or a trampoline, but not both.
But not both, and you have to have a certain distance away from the shore. And that was the issue. Some people have pergolas and other things pretty close to the shore that block the view of their neighbors, so. Okay, and that's about it for that.
Cool. All right. Do a little round table, comments from the boards. I think you had something you wanted to
Yeah,
add.
so so when I did the fishing tournament,
How was
you
the
know,
fishing tournament?
it was very good.
Yeah?
Very good. I still got to get everything tallied for the
Corn roast, that's when the finals, the announcements go out who
Yeah.
won or
Don't
whatever?
let anything out before the corn roast.
No.
I was gonna put mine on it.
Keep it down low. But no, it went really well. Really good to, meet people, just talk to people. That's about,
You were on the shore, or you were one of the way stations on the lake, or?
So we had 3 boats out there. I wasn't out there. I was on land, so it was nice. And, we had a lot of people volunteer last minute, but it worked
Nice.
out really good.
How many fishermen showed up?
74.
Nice.
Wow.
How many fish were caught? Was it a good collection?
A good collection, yeah. A lot of bass, mostly bass. We had a couple pike, a lot of small fish, but everyone seemed to have a good time. So nothing bad happened, so that was good too. So, but one thing that I noticed, just the fishermen and something that came to my attention and I just didn't know about it, I guess there's a lot of different fishing tournaments that people do on our lake. And when I was out there were a lot of people that didn't obey the speed rule, right? Right at the gate, people would get their boat off and they would just speed off, right?
Good, right, yeah.
And Grunwald was out there and you'd see him go right after him. So he was there pretty early that day. But, and then, just kind of got some feedback from some of the other residents and they,
So they didn't see the sign?
but yeah, right.
Or read the memo.
They didn't read it, I think is a better way to say it, but, just kind of from talking to him, it just seems, and he said, typically he starts at 11. So I think there's definitely some room for improvement to see if we can get him out there earlier, because when we do have people come on the lake, it's kind of the people that live here, they've got to listen to, high-speed boating. And, that day he went after, 3 people from what I remember. He was out there going. So I wanted to, think if we could, how we would word, a motion to council to,
Increase
maybe
his
see if
hours.
we can increase his hours, get him out there earlier, just so that in the future, this isn't an issue.
So for these.
Just got to
fishing
budget
tournaments-
more money for them, that's all.
Right.
Shift the hours to be off hours in some days? Basically
Yeah.
what you're saying
Mix it
is the enforcement in the no wake hours. Generally, he's out there in the wake hours.
Right.
And I say high-speed boating hours.
All you got to do is go by the access, and if he's not on the trailer, he's on the lake, so behave.
One of the
Yeah.
If his
things,
boat's on the
Yeah.
boat hoist, go crazy.
So before they go out, do they have to get a little,
They definitely,
do they have to get
Have to
a rally discussion on rules, the do's and don'ts?
So I was talking to one of the guys that do these fishing tournaments. They just post them online.
Yeah.
And then they go out and then they do them and like, no. From my knowledge, just from what I've learned from them, no, they don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I thought if they have like a,
But the fishing tournament that we run,
Yeah.
there's no reason why we couldn't have told everybody the rules before they went out there.
yeah,
But there's fishing
that's what I
tournament-
was getting
There's
at.
fishing tournaments that are
Did-
registered with the DNR, that are on the website, that cash for bass and all the other stuff that runs.
Right.
Nobody is sitting there telling them the rules, right?
One,
Yeah.
By any chance, did you get a lot of undersized fish?
Yeah, I mean, small fish, yeah. People just came with whatever at the point.
Yeah, that was my biggest beef, because I started that. In fact, John Scott, myself, and Jerry Mikowski started that
Oh,
tournament.
okay, cool.
And I got
and
tired
and Jim
because,
Donahue too, wasn't he involved way
Yeah.
back then? Yeah.
and it says right in the manual, if a legal size bass is 13 inches, don't put it in your boat, don't put it in a stringer, let it go. If it's on your boat, you're gonna get a ticket.
So were you
And
guys,
we had people bringing in bass like this all the time.
I don't know.
One of the things I wanted to mention, in the committee assignments, you were assigned to be in touch with the chief. You might bring it up to him about having Officer Grunwald more active on the lake
Or it could be, I would say, in this
Right.
instance, it could be coordination with the days that there are bass tournaments, which
That's-
we know in advance, they're on the DNR website.
Yeah.
Right.
Those days specifically, we could say,
But-
hey, can you be out there before 11 a.m.?
that's
So
what they
those
need us
days,
for.
yeah.
Grenwell needs us to make a motion to council
Yep.
to increase budget hours.
Yeah.
Specifically, he only had 4 hours for the whole, no, 4 hours per month for non-weekend days.
Yep.
That's not a lot of time, right? So he would prefer us doing 10 hours Saturday, 10 hours Sunday, and then one evening randomly during the week. Because there's
Yeah.
been a lot of troubles.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, everybody knows when he's out there.
Oh, they do, yeah.
And you're right, starting at like 10 is better because he said he's caught so many people
Yeah.
at like 10 in the morning just completely disobeying all the
Yeah.
rules.
And like I said, we can sync it, say, be there on the days where there's maybe a fishing tournament or whatever happens.
Right, and I think we just need a motion to convince council to reach out for budget.
Right. And, that's what I was thinking. We could do a motion, or I could get some more information. I just wanted to talk to the board about it. Because, we definitely want to give council as much information as possible. So, I could get more information before we actually send a motion in.
My guess is that this calendar year, since we're at Labor Day and
Oh, for next
things are
year.
decreasing.
Yeah, not this year. We
I
got a
don't think-
budget in
I don't think our
February,
motion right now will
whatever.
change anything this calendar year, but I do
Right.
think that you could probably reach out to Chief Ellsworth. He's like super easy to talk to, right?
Oh,
Ask
yeah.
him what his thoughts are. Tell him, hey, this is the dates that we have fishing tournaments and stuff like this. Is there something we can manage there, or off hours, or whatever?
Right.
So, you can certainly talk to the police chief about it. And then as far as like educating the fishing tournament, the nice for our own fishing tournament, did we go over the rules of the lake with the people before they launched their boats or at the registration? I don't know.
Briefly, they're posted, they're right on the sign, so personally for me, they're right there, I see them.
Yeah.
It's just, some people may not listen to them, or they just may not pay attention, in my opinion, but.
You know what might catch their attention is if we post the amount of fines that you get for disobeying.
Where you do, instead
That's a
of
good
instead
idea.
of having the police boat on the lift, you
Yeah.
just pull it on the other side of the dock and have it sit right there as they're launching their boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That alone will make them
Deter.
like, they'll see the police boat right there.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so we're going kind of roundtable comments from the board. Anybody else have anything?
Just as I was saying earlier, I went on
Yes, perfect.
assessment of the weed situation with Paul today, and he said that there were 3 spots that could use some treatment. But again, he wanted me to mention that to the board so that we can decide whether or not we want to do that before, I guess, is it Labor Day, or is that the last date that?
There's nothing, as far as I know, that says this has to be the last date that's Labor Day, but traditionally, I don't think we treat past Labor Day.
Right.
Do we have just a specific number of treatments?
I think
for-
we're
in
already
the- in
there.
their contract?
we've done that already. We're
I
maxed
think
out.
we're
Okay.
there. But we're not at the budget. We didn't use the whole budget as far as I know, but I
Oh,
think
that's cool.
treatment
I
number.
would think if we could send a harvester over there.
Well, yeah,
instead of-
yeah, yeah. He definitely said that the harvester
Yeah.
is needed, and he'll have the full report. He said
Yeah.
that definitely has to happen. But he said if we decide on it and agree, there are some spots that could use treatment.
Because kids will be back in school, so there's not going to be as much activity on the lake during the week, I don't think. But
I think we just get the harvester going and use that for the rest of the year.
yeah, I agree.
That's where I would stick with.
So what was the plan for the harvester?
Get it going?
I mean, but like, who's gonna get it going?
It's running now.
Oh, okay, so.
According to Dave, it was running as of this week, supposedly.
So the plan is to use it every day?
Well, I'll use it more.
I don't know. That's a good question. We can.
Depends if the operator's available.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask that too. Can there be 2 operators in that
Yeah,
thing?
we
So-
can have 4.
Yeah.
We had
I
trouble
think
just
the
finding
problem
one.
is finding them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Huh.
just nobody wants to work it.
No.
Looks like
I
a
was
fun
gonna say, I
thing.
think all the retired people would want to use
I
that.
literally think, I tell my dad, I said, you gotta move to Michigan because I got the perfect job for you.
Yeah,
Just drive this harvester. And he's like, he'd be out there every day.
yeah.
As many days as we want to pay him, he spent 8 hours a day on the lake harvesting weeds.
Oh, I would too.
Just to be on the lake,
Yeah.
running
Yeah.
this big machine, listening to music,
Yeah.
buzzing
With his
around.
fishing pole off the.
Yeah.
He'd be trolling. He'd be trolling.
Do a lot of
for sure.
trolling.
Yeah, for sure. He'd be trolling. Yeah, no, I think we had a period of time before Grant stepped up to do it where we didn't have any operator for half a summer. Because
Yeah.
Really?
we lost one and we couldn't find somebody to run the thing. You need a CDL
Well, the,
too, don't you? You need a CDL?
Rondo, who was the code enforcement officer, was also working the thing one year. This was back, 3 years ago or so?
Yeah, Jeff Rondo, yeah, he,
Yeah.
Have you has there been anything in the newsletter that's saying, hey, any interested parties in?
I don't think so.
No, but I think after Grant, when I talked to Grant previously, he said that this is probably his last summer. I don't know if that's still the case. At the beginning of the summer it was.
Yeah.
So I think we probably we could actively recruit a harvester person. We definitely can't go into next summer with a non-functioning harvester or a harvester that has no operator.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, did we come up with, we're gonna work over the winter with council to make sure we don't create the same kind of harvester breakdown issues?
See, the advertisement would be now, so somebody could work with him if this happened to be his last year,
Yeah.
to get some familiarity
Training,
of,
co-pilot.
right,
going out, yeah.
operating the machine.
To Kathy's question, no, I don't think we said we were gonna do anything there.
Well,
Do we
even
want
if we
to?
don't address it, like this meeting this month, we need to make sure it doesn't go unaddressed all winter.
To me, they just seemed like, isn't that the DPW's
Yeah, it's
wheelhouse there? You'd think they'd.
They don't know how to take care of a diesel.
yeah, because
That's
whoever you
the
get,
problem.
one of the current ones are going to have to show them how to use and train it, because I don't think anybody on a DPW, other than just moving
And
it
there's only
around,
two of them right
knows the idiosyncrasies of that.
Contract out.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
You know, you're steering with paddles, there's no rudder,
right.
No, good point.
and that thing
Yeah, I
is
think we're
heavy.
having problems with just.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop on a dime.
Jeez. But
Super annoying.
All right, so.
not figuring out how to take care of.
Moving right along here,
Yeah, I think, I'll follow up about the operator. You know, we're losing an operator, we have an operator, and what's the plan to train a new
Yes.
operator so we don't have the problem? And then I guess I'll follow up with Dave as well on it being broken
you could
down.
even start advertising now, and if we get somebody, the kid could show them,
Yeah,
and then you say, yeah, I'll be here next year.
yeah.
Because we still got at least a month and a half that, maybe even 2 months that we could harvest.
Yeah, I was trying to
And if
actually
we're
just see
delaying the
when we
drawdown,
stopped.
We'll harvest longer.
I was just trying to see when we stopped harvesting last year, but I lost internet here. Oh, no, here we go. So harvester,
Every year is different.
yeah, I just was curious to see what was the last one. So the harvester last year. So we ran it until September 23rd was the last time we ran it. So I mean, we definitely have a month ahead of us, right, of using it.
I would think you would have at least 30 days.
Yeah, so I would say let's revisit the harvester topic next
meeting about whether we want to, let's say, bring in a diesel person to winterize it or something, make a recommendation or
That
something?
might be another thing to send to council for next Wednesday, to post for an operator.
I would say do we
Let's
want
see
to
if-
see if Grant is gonna do
Yeah,
it again
right.
first?
Well, even if you get somebody part-time, I mean, we could use somebody more than just
Yeah,
the
he doesn't do it 7 days a week.
Well, yeah, is he willing to work more, or is he only working, what's
Well,
his?
I think him and my grandson are the same age, so I think he's probably graduating this year, because my grandson already graduated. So I'm sure he's got other plans besides.
Well, I will message Grant and find out what his plan is, and then if there's not a plan there, I'll reach out to Dave and just bring it up to him. I mean, I don't see why we need to make a motion for that, and why we can't just
You don't.
ask Grant, see if he's not working. If he doesn't seem like he's working, bring it up to the admin and say, listen, we're gonna lose a harvester next year.
Right.
Can you
Right.
get somebody trained up? I could just take care of that.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah,
email.
you don't need to do anything else,
Okay. Any other stuff here for round table?
no.
Nope.
You good? Everybody good here? All right, so.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.